quick hitters. This should take me no longer than 10 minutes. All right. So first one here, creating sales non-negotiables. All right. This is something we actually did with the NLCA sales team about a month ago, and it's been definitely fruitful. I can speak for myself. I chose not to hire another closer. I'm staying in the closer role right now for NLCA. So I've been holding myself accountable to these non-negotiable numbers as well. And I can speak for myself that I've gotten a lot more calls back on the books, specifically from the follow-ups, because I hold myself accountable to this every single day. So what exactly is this? All right. So as you guys know, sales is a contact sport, right? If we're not making contacts, if we're not doing the daily activities that drive results, then we're not going to get sales. Jordan. Sales also cares more about targets over time, right? A lot of the misconception here, especially if you've worked for an employer previous to this, is usually in that setting, it's all about the time that you put in, not about the targets that you hit. Well, very different in entrepreneurship, right? It's actually only about the targets that you hit and not about the time, right? It's all about results. So here's what I want you guys to create, right? You don't have to do this right now, but maybe you create some homework for yourself after today's call. All right. Very, very simple formula. Every single day, you're going to hold yourself accountable to sales targets and sales activities. And if you fail to hit one or the other, the targets or the activities, then we have to have a repercussion. All right. So let's talk about that. So I close X deals a day and book X calls a day, or I do X new messages a day / follow-ups a day. And if I fail to meet the targets or the sales activity, so one or the other. So if you hit the targets, you're golden. You don't have to do the repercussion. If you hit the sales activities, but you don't hit the targets, you also don't have to do the repercussion. It's when you fail to do both. You fail to hit your targets and you fail to hit your sales activities that you have to do the repercussion. All right, the repercussion for me is 50 burpees, right? Maybe for you, it's running a mile, but something you just don't want to fucking do, right? Whatever it is that you don't want to fucking do. So you got to make sure that you set this. And then if you do have a DMer, even if it's just one DMer, make sure that you put this in play as well, right? Don't just do this for you specifically, but make sure that you're doing this for your sales team too. All right, what questions do you guys have about this and or comments? Does anybody do something like this? No. Okay, great. So this is going to be, I mean, if you do anything from what I talk about today, if you just do this is going to be a game changer, right? Because Jordan, not to use you as an example, but when we have other projects on our plate, like bringing your DMer up to speed and finding an assistant coach and all that stuff, right? If we just make this a daily discipline, regardless of those other projects, we're still going to keep the sales cycle moving, right? Unfortunately, and also, fortunately, the sales cycle is really dependent on us, right? It's really dependent on us. But as you guys continue to grow, you find DMers, you find closers, it'll be less dependent on you. It'll be more you managing your team and holding them accountable to doing this stuff. But right now, you guys are in it, right? So we can't forget to do these activities daily. All right, everybody going to create non-negotiables? Beautiful. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, let's move on to the second one here. All right, so I actually love what I heard from Jeremy earlier. He has his DMer going back through his list to talk about the 7-day challenge that he's doing. But you guys need to do this more consistently. So this is where those 25 follow-ups that I do every single day with past leads, I'm specifically going to my booking tracker. So you guys should first and foremost have your booking tracker sourced by month. So if you do it on a Google sheet, on the bottom, there should be, every tab should be a different month. It should be, August, September, October, so on and so forth. All right. So what you want to do is you want to go back through the non-closed sections and the limbo sections for your leads for the previous month. All right. These have been the follow-ups that I've been using. I've tested a lot of different follow-ups recently. These have been the ones that I've been using that have actually driven a result. All right. So once again, limbo section is people that are no longer on the calendar, right? Maybe they had to reschedule and they didn't show, or they canceled, they didn't show. They're off in limbo land. They're not on anybody's calendar, right? Non-closed just means that you had the call, you didn't close it, right? So you should have those sections on the booking tracker first and foremost. All right. Here are the follow-ups that have been working for me. Name, are you still interested in reaching goal? Very, very simple, right? That one's a bread and butter. That one works a lot. All right, next one here. Hey, Kara, hope you're doing well. Wanted to see where we go from here. Is this something you still want to build and grow over the next couple of months with NLCA, or do we close the file on this? This one, I can't take credit for this one. This is actually created from our closer, Drew. This one actually works like a fucking charm. It's a little bit more direct, and it asks them like, hey, are we closing the file on this, or are we doing this thing? All right. This next one works really well as well. Hey, Sahir. I hope you're having an amazing week. You don't strike me as the type of guy to ghost. Everything okay? All right. The reason I love this one is you're basically saying, like, hey, you didn't seem like the type of guy that would do this thing, right? So we're labeling them as the type of person that doesn't ghost. So they're going to want to act in accordance with how we are labeling them, right? It's a little bit of psychology. So if I label Jonathan as the type of guy that doesn't ghost, but then I say, hey, Jonathan, like you didn't strike me as that type of guy. Is everything okay? Right? That's going to make them want to respond because they're going to want to act in accordance with how we view them, how we think they are. Right. So this one's a fucking banger right here. So I would definitely use that one if you can. All right. You guys have probably seen these on social media. I've tested a couple of different ones. These are the 3 out of the 5 that I've been testing that have gotten responses. All right, this one right here. Yes, you would have to go on Amazon and buy an old person mask, or you can just go on TikTok and use the old person filter, right? On TikTok or Instagram, you can just do face recognition and it will make you look old. That perfectly would work as well. But basically saying, hey, I'm growing old, waiting for your reply. Really simple, gets them to laugh. Humor is huge, right? If you can get them to laugh, 9 times out of 10, they'll respond. Maybe it's not the type of response you want, but at least they'll acknowledge it and say, hey, that was pretty funny. And all we need is a response. Once we get them to respond, you guys can carry out the conversation from there. All right, this one's really been working for me. I don't know if there's a filter out there where you can use the stethoscope, but this cost me all of like $6 on Amazon. And I use it in my ads occasionally as well. So props are huge, y'all. If you just like had a $50 budget, went on Amazon today and bought some props that you can use in your content, but also use in your follow-ups and ads, it's a well worthwhile investment. All right, checking in to see if Goal has a pulse. All right, this one's probably been the bread and butter of the follow-ups that I've been using the most. This picture right here. All right, it didn't let me do this in portrait mode. I don't know why it posted in landscape mode. Basically, it's just a picture of me and my dog. This one works really well. Not to like be stereotypical, but this one works really well when you're speaking to a female. I've noticed when I speak to a guy, they don't give it as much of a shit. But when I'm talking with a female lead, I almost always get a response here. And I basically say, my dog gets a treat with every reply. Want to give her a treat? Question mark. And that one works really great once again for female prospects. All right, so recapping this one, number 2, follow-ups and keeping up specifically with your old booking trackers. So making sure that your booking trackers are really well kept. More specifically, making sure you have a limbo section and a non-closed section, and then making sure you're using these follow-ups for any of those particular scenarios, the non-closed section, but also the limbo section as well. All right, so that's number 2. All right, number 3. I've talked to you guys about reoffers before, so I'm not going to give you the whole spiel, but more specifically, the things that we're seeing that are working are using reoffers with urgency and scarcity. Now, urgency in this case would be if you sign this week, you get XYZ. So XYZ could be a percentage off. XYZ could be an extra month. XYZ could be this fancy bonus that everybody loves, right? Or we can use scarcity. We could text people and say, hey, I'm giving the next 5 people 10% off, an extra month, whatever the fancy schmancy bonus is, right? So when you're doing these follow-ups, right, every single day you're holding yourself accountable to these non-negotiables. This could be a great tactic for individuals who are on the fence, right? Who are like very close. They're hot leads, like, fuck, I just need to give them a little nudge to get them over, right? Or you could do this general one and blast it out to everybody. I would say this one probably only for people who are on the fence. If you sign this week, you get, let's say, 10% off. That would work better with somebody who's on the fence. This one you can send, this one right here, you can send to anybody. I'm giving the next 5 people blank, right? It's almost like the 5, what do they call it? The 5 guys post that people do on social media, but you're just doing it in your follow-up texts, right? So that's a great approach there too. All right, so that's the third thing you guys probably aren't doing consistently that if you did do, you'd be making more money right now. All right, the fourth thing that you need to be doing that you're probably not doing that would make you more money, using a 1 month trial as a downsell option. All right, for fitness, this 1 month trial would probably be within the range of 150 to 250 bucks, but I would use this as a downsell. Now, you're not going to make your money on the downsell, right? Like 150 bucks, 250 bucks, that's not going to change really your month or your quarter or your year. Now, where the money is made is going to be on the upsell on the back end. Right. So if you give them a great experience for that 1 month, you establish a goal. Let's say you want to help them lose 5 pounds in their first month. You reach that goal. Guess what? That individual previously probably was less trusting of you, but now you just help them get their first couple of wins. Now they're actually going to want to spend thousands of dollars with you. That's the type of person that this is going to be beneficial for. All right. I've had this conversation with you guys already, but the trust recession is a real thing right now. That's the uphill battle that everybody on this call, including myself, is facing. Right. So if you have this as a back pocket option for individuals who are a little like unsure, they're a little untrusting, right? You pull out the 1 month, hey, you're only going to be out 150, 250 bucks. If it doesn't work, you can wipe your hands clean. If it does work, which I'm very confident it will, guess what? We could chat about a future option. Does that sound fair? Right? So this is something that you guys are probably not doing. If you did more consistently, you'd have more clients. All right. The last thing I'm going to throw your way, we just made a shit ton of money off of a internal resign. Well, you guys, our clients, we did make a shit ton of money off of that internal resign thing that we posted, that you guys saw that we posted, right? And I've now committed to every 3 months, I'm going to do the same thing. Every 3 months, I'm going to put it out into our ecosystem saying, hey, here's an option to resign or ascend or whatever it is. All right. Now, this is something that you guys are probably not doing. Once again, if you did do, we'd be making a lot more money. There's a lot of people already in your network who, if you just said, hey, do you want to extend for an extra 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, you get this percentage off, that people would bite on that. And you'd probably increase your resign rate more than whatever it is currently right now. All right, recapping. 5 things in your sales that you guys aren't currently doing that if you did, you'd be making more money. Number 1, having a sales non-negotiable number. Number 2, following up with your non-closed and limbo section on your booking tracker. Also means you got to be detailed with that booking tracker. Using these specific follow-ups, I'll drop the doc here in the chat. All right, number 3, using reoffers with urgency and scarcity. Number 4, using a 1 month trial as a downsell, more specifically with people who would be good clients, but maybe they're a little unsure, they're a little untrusting. Excuse me, that would build in the trust. And then 1 time a quarter, running an internal special to get people to extend their stay with you. Percentage off is going to work the best there. And you should do it for all of your lengths of term, whatever it is, 3, 6, 12, whatever your lengths of term are.